Welcome back everyone. In this video, I'll show you how to build this beautiful weather app with JavaScript. I have uploaded two videos earlier to this same channel that I showed first how to build this UI and second how to build it with Django as a backend. And I promise that I'll release a version for plain JavaScript, and so this is the video. For now, if I search for any city, say Jakarta, it will tell me that Jakarta, it gives me the statistics for Jakarta at the time. If I switch to Cairo, that one too will give me the weather at Cairo at that particular time. So jump into the next session where we start building this from complete scratch. This is my folder that contains the project. If I open it, you see that I have my index.html file and then the images directory, which contains the background and two images we used in building the UI. As I said before, the video on the UI has already been uploaded. So if you want to learn how to build the UI, you can check the link in the description. I will link that one and as well as the Django backend video. We will not build the UI in this video. It's just the JavaScript part that we are adding. So let me just right click and open with code. Okay, and I'll be using the live server extension for this video. So if you don't have it, just to your extensions, just search for live server. And then this very first one here is what you need. That is what you'll be using. And if you have it, you will see that when you open the HTML file, you will be able to click on go live here and then you'll be live inside the browser. So this is the plain HTML that we're about to work on. So let's try and put them side by side. Let me collapse this place so that we get more space. So obviously the first thing that we have to do or want to do is to create a JavaScript file. Let's call it scripts.js. And then let's link it up in our HTML file. So down here before the first script tag, you can just link it there. So the source is scripts.js like this. And we can test our JavaScript connection just by a small alert. Let's see. An alert that says hello. Let's save it. And then, yes, the alert hello comes in. So we know that our JavaScript is connected. What we have to do is to get first, this is the process that we'll get the city name and then do the API call and then replace it here. But one thing that I did not do in the front-end build is to give each of them IDs. So now what we'll be doing is to check each of them that doesn't have an ID. You have to give it an ID before we continue, especially the ones that will be of interest. So this form like this should get an ID of form, and this input here should also get an ID of city. By the way, if you don't want to also build the front end, you just want to go ahead with the building, like you know already front end design, so you just want to go ahead with the JavaScript part, that is also fine. The source code will be in the description, so you get access to this HTML file as well. But I really encourage you to build the front end yourself also. This button will not go. The home city card will be replacing this part, so let's just call it temperature main. We'll have an ID of temperature main. And this is how the API call works this way. To give us first the city, we have access also to the country. But to keep things very, very simple and not complex, what I want us to do is to wrap these ones also in the separate spans so that we can give IDs to the span. Oh, this was London. So now this span can have an ID of city. This thing, let's save it so that this alert will go away. Okay. And then now this UK2 can have a span which ID will be country. So span. The next one we'll be interested in, now we are done with this part. So the next part we'll be interested in is to get, we'll be changing, these ones that will be changing to, we have to set IDs on them. So on the weather details, this place is the actual weather. So this place too should get, this image tag should get an ID of icon. And we give an ID of weather to this one, because it's the actual weather. And this one to have an ID of weather description. Where you see for the temperature, we have to give that one to a class. An ID of temperature. You know, the first one is temperature main and this one is temperature. And the next one is the wind speed, which you have a value, an ID of wind speed. The next one, I think is the last one also, is humidity. Here we should have an ID of humidity. Great. So I think that is all here for now. What we have to do now is to come into our JavaScript and then access all of these things here. So, and then let's just call it weather element for the weather part. So that will be document dot get element by ID. And the ID for that one was weather. Okay. And we need a lot of these lines, so we can just duplicate them. This one will be temperature main element, so temperature main element. I'm calling them elements because we'll be declaring other ones which will be the same as this one, just that the path elements will not come. When we get there, you understand why I did it. And so this one was also called temperature main. Okay. And the next one should be weather description element. So I can just add a description here. The next one on the list is weather icon element for the icon. And this one should be, did we call it just description or weather description? It is weather description. Okay. And the next one, which is weather icon element, I think we just call that one to icon. Yes, just icon. We should now have the temperature element. So there's the temperature main and now the temperature element. Let me clear this line. That one too we call temperature. Temperature. And the next one is the humidity, which we simply called humidity. Which one haven't we done yet? I think we are left with wind speed also. So wind speed. Country country, and this one was town. I think that should be all. If there's anyone that we've missed, we will come back and address that. But I think that is all for now. We need API. We use the Open Weather Map API. So let's just declare a variable for the API key and then get it very simple. API key, for now, let it be equal to an empty string. And then let's set the city also. For now, let it be equal to Washington. Okay, so let us get our API key from Open Weather Map and use it. You just have to go on to openweathermap.org. The link will be in the description below, so you can just check it out. And just if you don't have an account, make sure you create one, and you have to verify it by your email, but it isn't a very tedious process. So you can just click on where you see your name here, go to my API keys. And then after you sign in, you can create a key like this. I already have one that has been created for the previous apps that we used, but for you, you will have to click on generate, give a name to a key like I gave, like weather app, and click on generate. So if I just say test and then click on generate, you see that the test API key has been created, but that is not what we'll be using. We'll be using this weather app API. So I'll copy this key. I'll really encourage you to create your own key. It's completely free, so you don't have to pay anything. I will even disable this key after this video, so just have to create yours and then use it. Now that we have our API key, we have to now make declare the API URL. So const API URL should be equal to that one too. We can get it from the Open Weather website. Let's come to the guide. Or let's just go to openweathermap.org/current. That should, yes, this is what we are looking for. So this is the API call, the link that we need. So we can just copy this one. openweathermap.org/current is what we are using now. So we can just paste it in here. But we will not just paste it as this. Let's use the backticks because we want to plug in some elements of it. So now this is this. What we have to do is this app ID. We don't need the lat and long. So let's delete that one for now. But the app ID, we need it. So that one should be equal to, and put a $sign here. And then instead of this API key, place it with our own API key. So API key. And then if you check the parameters that you can pass in, this is the lat and long that we deleted. We will pass in the city, so that is why we deleted that one. But we also want the units also. So I would like the metric standard. If you come down, you get to know all the format, the response, the fields, and what they are. So when we get to the response, we come and deal with this one in detail. But for now, I want to show you that like the temperature, for instance, if you choose metric, then you get Celsius. If you choose default, then you get Kelvin. Imperial, then you get the Fahrenheit. So apart from the app ID, one other thing that we will pass is the city, which should be equal to city. And I told you also that we have to pass in the unit also, so that's one too. And unit with S equal to this one. We don't even need the S, we can just pass it in here as metric. That is all that should do. Okay, so now we have to make the call itself. Fetch, and then what we want to fetch is the API URL. Then let's get the response from it, and now we want to check. So if the response, when we are making calls like that, they can be successful or not. So if not response dot okay, that means if there was an error with the response or the call, then there are a lot of things that we can do. Maybe let's throw an alert now, and then just tell the user that an error occurred or something like that. Okay, I think this should be good, and then we have to return afterwards. So return. Other than that, is that if there was no error, then we want to return response.json. Okay. And this is all that we need to do the fetching from the Open Weather API. In fact, if we try to, let's try it. So after that, then let's try and then console log this response and see. So let me bring it on the next line just to format it. Then first, let's get the data. And then after we get the data, we can just log it to the console to see what is going on. So console.log and then data. Okay. So let's test it out and see. It says an error occurred. Why is this? Are we missing out anything? Okay, this is not city. This is supposed to be kill. So just make it that way. And I see I didn't get an error. The alert didn't come now. So let's just view and then see what came in the console. Okay, now we have an object here. Let me try and zoom in. We have an object here. You see that the clouds and the coordinates and main and all those ones. So just like it is in the Open Weather API, so this is the response that comes in JSON. So that is what we are getting now in our console. If you want to read about it, you can just come here and read about it in detail, but I will not prolong the video by doing that. So now we know that we have it in our console, so we can access all of these and then work with them or show them here as appropriate. Maybe we can just make this thing nicer. But just see weather data. No? Okay. Save it now. But I really don't like how it was saying the object. Okay, so now the weather data. Now we know that is what we are dealing with. Okay. If we take a look at the response that comes, we need just a few things from it. We just need the actual weather, which is this. So which is that one, we have to say response or data, whatever name we give to it, .weather.main to get access to this one. We need a description also and then the icon to do the rendering. Also, we need the temperature. We also need the humidity. Another thing we need is the wind speed. We need the country. And then we need the town should be here. Okay, so it depends. If you need other things too, you can add it. That is completely fine. But for now, let's see how we can get access to all of those. So this is where why I named the rest elements. So because we are coming to access the values from the API using almost the same name. So weather should be equal to data dot weather, and then we have to access the 0th element in here. So if you come to data dot weather, you see that in here is this square bracket, and then inside the square bracket is where the other object is. So we have to access this object, which is the first element inside this array. So this one gives us the first array, and then the dot main. That is what will give us the weather. The weather description, so const that one too should be data dot weather. I think it's almost the same as the first one, but just that this one is dot description. Okay. We can just quickly check if we are doing the right thing by logging the two to the console. So let's just say weather, and then in here we just say weather. Okay. It's good to be doing this check as you go along. And so where is our console? Now it says weather is undefined. So we know that we are not doing something right. Okay. Data.weather 0. This should be main. How did it become temperature main element? Okay. Okay, now it says the weather is clear, and that is what we are looking for. If we also log the weather description here, then it says clear sky. So we know that we are doing the right thing. Okay. Results of this. The next one that we need is the weather icon. So data.weather, and that one too is inside that same array, so 0 then dot icon. We need one for temperature, so temperature, that should be equal to data.main.temp. This autocomplete sometimes worries. So temp. We need one for the humidity, so that one too. Humidity, and then this place should be humidity. Okay. The next one we need is the wind speed. Should be data.wind.speed, not wind speed.speed. Okay. We need also the country, which is data.sys.country. Then the last one on our list is the town, which is data.name. Okay, so this should give us all that we are looking for to fill up this front end that we have here. This is not necessary, just for the test. And so once we are done with this like that, we can now change or replace the text inside these elements that we have defined up here. Let's see how we can do that. Now we can say weather element should be this one, dot inner text should now be equal to weather. So let's try it out and see. The weather is not this one, it's supposed to be the the clear or the clear sky is the description. What I was focusing on is rather the city name here. Okay, so let's work around the city name and then see that one will change, because that's quite obvious. It should change from London to Washington. First, the country element, which should be equal to dot inner text should be equal to country, and then town element, that one to the inner text should be equal to town. Now if this works, then it should change to Washington for us. It's still saying London, US. I think I do get why. The input also has an ID of city, so that will really cause a problem. Two things with the same ID. So let's make this one kill, rather. So the ID for this one should be kill, or let this one be the town, rather, because the two cannot have the same IDs. Okay, so now that I change it from this one from city to town, so that it has worked. You know that it's Washington in the United States. Great. Let's continue by to change the rest. So now we can say temperature main element dot inner text. That one should be equal to temperature. And then weather description elements, that one to the inner text, should be equal to did you call it weather description? Yep. And then we'll come to the icon very soon, but let's go to the humidity element. This should go a long way. So the humidity, this temperature, we have not changed it. For the wind speed, I think we have to do something to it. See that the meters per second is gone. So I'll put it in this one and then put this here and then put my meters per second there, so that you look just like the this is the wind speed, and then the humidity also should be the same. But that one is percentage. Okay, great. And we have not done the temperature. Temperature element. That one too should have similar ones. So you can just say temperature and then degrees Celsius. Let me copy it from here. Okay, I was expecting this one here and this one should be to be the same. Let me just convert this one to string. Okay. And why is this changing and this not changing? And then think, apart from that one, we set the weather description and all. Let us work on the image. When we come to the open weather, and we just change the URL to weather conditions. So instead of /current, let's go to weather conditions, this one. It will bring us to this page where there is the weather icons. And we see here that each of the icons has what we can term as an ID, and then there is the URL for this. For light rain, this is the URL for the icon. So we can, it's just the code here, the 10D, that changes. So we can just copy this URL and then we can say weather icon element here dot src. We want to set the source to be equal to this one. We also need a backticks. Then paste this one in there for now. But where we see the 10D, we will just delete the 10D, which is the ID for light rain, and then we plug in our own ID, which is the how did we call it here? Weather icon. This one. Okay. So it says that place is clear. Let's check a place that may not be clear. London itself, and see. Okay, it will still not change unless we change it here because we have not worked on it there. So London. That one too is rain, but the icon really did not change also. Okay. Cairo in Egypt. Lagos, Nigeria. I think our wind speed is also not changing, because it cannot be the same for all of them. Is this some spelling mistake or what? So inner text, temperature element, get element by ID temperature. Humidity element, get element by ID humidity, wind speed. I think it's always best to visit the console. Let's visit the console and see what's going on. Console is saying we are assigning to a constant variable. Okay, it's quite obvious. I'm sure you already saw it, that I didn't bring the dot inner text from there. Okay, so that should and that actually solved all the problems, because it solved all the problems. So you can see that the image is also changing dynamically. The temperature is also okay. So that was the only problem that was taking us aback. If I check another country, like let me go back to Lagos, that it actually changed for us also. Let's try another city. Osaka should be in Japan. Okay, I forgot. I thought this one can be changed here, but if we check Osaka, which is in Japan, yes, we should get something that changed. Let's check for Jakarta. Now one also changes. Okay, so the only thing that we have to do now is to get the city name rather from this side instead of typing it from here ourselves. Wow, it's telling us that in India currently there is no wind. Delhi, fine. Okay, so this is a form. We are getting it by the form up here. And it's a get. What is it? It's get. The method is get. So whenever we type anything, you see that the city name Osaka that I typed has gone in there. If I type London, it will also go in there, so that everything is passed into the URL. So that is what we can tap into. So we can tap into the URL and get the value of city and then use it here. Let's see how we do that one. Inside script, before the city actually, sorry. Let's get the URL parameters. So that one too can be URL params, and that should be equal to new URL search params, this one. And then because the form is being submitted to the same page, we can do so by say window dot location dot search, because we are submitting the form to the same page. So, and then here now we can say this city will not be hard coded here now. We can say it should be equal to URL params dot get, and what is the value we want to get? The value we want to get is, that's the value we want to get. Now if we do that, when immediately I save it, it change up here. So let's just come here and wipe the URL clean to still take us to some London. Okay, I are still good to go. So if I type in Washington now that one is being passed in as the URL and is being used for the app, and that is exactly what we want. So we can go ahead and just check for a few cities to just check it whether it is working. Rio de Janeiro, hope I spelled it right. No saving. Enter. Okay, I think I didn't get the city name right. Rio de Okay, I was just trying to check it from that side, but I think it's not working. Mexico City. Okay, that one worked. Let me check Lomé. That one too also worked. What about Accra? That one too also worked. So that, my friends, is how we build this beautiful and simple weather app with plain JavaScript. And I hope you learned a lot along the way. If you have any concerns or questions, make sure to put them in the description below and I will be there to address it. This part was not needed, so let's get rid of it. I'll be there to address it. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really gives me motivation to create amazing content. And consider subscribing if you have not done so. That'll be all for this video. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you again with another video. The source code will also be available in the description for those who want to make reference to it. Bye for now.